welcome back to the SportsMax Zone. We turn to athletics. World 400-meter champion Salwa Eid Naser has been cleared of an anti-doping violation by a disciplinary tribunal convened by World Athletics. The Bahrain sprinter who won the 400 meters title in Doha last October was provisionally suspended in June for committing 4 whereabouts violations. In plain language, she was accused of failing to make herself available for drug tests. The tribunal ruled that one of the alleged mistests in April 2019 could not be classified as such because the doping control officer became confused by numbered car parking spaces at the athlete's apartment block. The agent then knocked on the door of a storage room instead of Naser's apartment. The charges were therefore dismissed since there were not 3 offences within 12 months. The filing failure was backdated to January 1st, 2019, and the final mistest was on January 24th, 2020. The Athletics Integrity Unit, which brought the charges, has 30 days in which to appeal to the Court of Arbitration for Sport. Well, senior writer at SportsMax.tv, Leighton Levy, joins us in a bit to discuss the matter. But for now, George and Lance, I would love to hear your opinion on, of course, Naser walking free, similar to Christian Coleman, right, Lance?
Well, this has been a bit of a surprise, I must say, but clearly the attorneys representing her found a loophole, found something that they could hold on to, and used it as a pivotal point that they were making. So right. She gets off on a technicality.
All right, so we have Leighton with us. George, any comments before Leighton joins us? All right, Leighton, welcome.
Hi guys, what's up?
All right, so Leighton, you're the expert in this matter, and of course, I put the Naser's ruling to you. She walks free today, and of course, you know, I just asked Lance, I said it's similar to Christian Coleman. How did you see this result?
Well, prior to the hearing, we knew nothing about the circumstances surrounding the field tests. In fact, the information that we got today from the ruling was the first that anybody would have had on the circumstances surrounding the 3 missed tests last year, and of course the one in January this year that is still on the books because that was still considered a violation. And of course, as you mentioned prior, the technicality of the doping period going back to January 1st made this 4th test on January 24th that she missed outside the window of 12 months. So she escapes there. That's the technicality. On the matter of the April 12th test, where the doping control officers went to the wrong address and knocked on the wrong door and failed to fully try to get her attention to allow them to do the test. I think that's where the situation turned in favor of Naser as opposed to what the AIU had initially brought. And of course, they themselves admitted that it would not have constituted a missed test, given what Mr. Martinez had done in trying to get in touch with her. First of all, going to the wrong address and then failing to gain access to the correct building, claiming he didn't want to wake up anybody, and so she walks away.
Leighton, is it that difficult for athletes to keep officials updated on their whereabouts, the way how it has been coming to the forefront?
It can be, but it doesn't have to be. In the case of Naser, for example, the person who managed her Adams account, that's the anti-doping administration and management system. That's where the athletes put their information as to where they're going to be and if they're traveling and so forth, and their contact information. She had an official from the Bahrainian Athletics Association managing that account for her. In fact, in the January case, she was supposed to have been in Lagos, I think it was, and missed her flight, and then had to drive to the location where she was supposed to be. Tried to reach her, the manager, the guy who was managing her Adams account. He was asleep, missed that information until later in the morning when the testing period, 6 to 7 a.m., I think it was, had passed. That is why that test still stands, that failed test still stands. So she can't run the risk of 2 more missed tests during the course of this calendar year. or else she'll be banned again. The thing about it is that when you read document and based on information that I've had in speaking with people close to the athlete, she's been pretty nonchalant about the whole thing. So I think she's rather fortunate that this that the attorneys that she had on the case, of course from New City Chambers in Trinidad and Tobago, Dr. M.A. Crown and Matthew Gale et al., that they honed in on that particular case on April 12th and found the weaknesses there, and of course pushed that situation, and of course it was successful.
Leighton, this is an issue that sometimes the layperson finds a little difficult to be sympathetic, to some of these athletes, because the rules are very clear about making yourself available or making yourself accessible. And we have been on this show sometimes very hard on athletes who have failed to do that. I remember when we discussed this issue with you a couple of months ago, you didn't appear to have too much sympathy on Naser based on what had happened, but you just said that no one knew about the circumstances of at least one of the whereabouts violations, which we now know. She seems clear now to compete at the Tokyo Olympics if and when it happens in 2021 as the third fastest woman all time over 400 meters. Only Yarmila Kratochvilova and Marita Koch have gone faster. Is this good news then for track and field fans that one of the stars is set to compete at the Olympics?
It's good news in the sense that, coming off the back of what we saw in Doha last year, that clash between herself and, of course, Shawnee Miller-Weaver, where they both ran an incredible race, respectively, and, of course, excited the champions. For many people, that was the race of the championships. The thing is, with this particular instance, is that in Tokyo, it is likely that Shawnee Miller will not run the 400. Her intentions are to run the 200 meters. And also, the integrity of the performance of Naser, even though with the exoneration, there is still a cloud over her head, because as the documentation showed you, there is still questions to be asked about why she missed 3 tests in such a short period of time. March 16th, March 12th, March 16th, and of course April 12th. That's 3 tests within the period of a month. You have to honestly ask yourself, what is it that was happening in that period? Why she was unable to be tested by the doping control officer? So it can work both ways, but it all depends on on where you're looking at it from. For the doubters, this is going to be another instance of where track and field loses its integrity. For fans of the sport, this is a good thing, because they'll get to see her probably run another fantastic time in Tokyo next year against our own Sharika Jackson here in Jamaica, of course, and some of the other world-leading 400-meter females. Allyson Felix, perhaps, coming back for her final Olympics. That would be something that would be an interesting storyline. Yeah. But it does come with a bit of a cloud above it in terms of what it might mean in terms of the integrity of any performance that you might see in Tokyo next year.
All right, Leighton. Well, again, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us. And of course, we'll be keeping in touch with you where other matters are concerned.
Have a good evening, guys.
You too. All right, we take a short break and we come back.